Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Firing Line Radio Show. This is Philip Naiman. You can find out more about us on our Facebook page at Firing Line Radio Show or on our website, firinglineradio.com. Of course, all the usual places such as Instagram. I don't do Twitter, but Instagram, you'll find it, Firing Line Radio Show, Facebook pages. And on the Facebook page, this is something you need to do. I'm starting off right off the bat here, reminding you, you have to join the group. If you go to Firing Line Radio Show, there's a little blue button that says Visit Group. Click it, apply for it, I'll put you in the group. That's where all the giveaways happen. That's where all the marketing and the fun stuff happens. All the good stuff happens inside the group. We had to join up with the group because Facebook is throttling back anything else under 2A, and this is the only way you'll see all the posts. So it's active, lots of people are posting in there, it's a lot of fun, and this is where you get all of your information and our giveaways. And we do have some splendid giveaways from our product sponsors. Folks, joining me on the show, I have Kelly McMillan. Kelly McMillan of McMillan Stocks out of Phoenix, Arizona. Kelly, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Phil. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure anytime you're able to come on. You know, last weekend, we just did a seminar course out here, which you'd been involved in the past, with Rex Defense, rexdefense.com, and Rex Tibor. I know you know who he is.
I do, and I was going to ask you about that. How did that go?
It went great. We did it at the Riverside Indoor Shooting Range. Had a lot of people there, a lot of good information, and it was raining cats and dogs anyway, so you might as well have been inside getting good information on long-range shooting, because you certainly weren't doing it that day.
So this was not the range portion of it, just the classroom portion.
Exactly, what you attended in last year.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, on one of the tables there was a fine selection of McMillan stocks, just in case anybody wanted to see what they actually look like.
Yeah, I'm sure none of those guys that were in attendance had any idea of what McMillan does or who they are. But, yeah, thanks for helping me out on that. I appreciate it.
I know you need the biz. So that's we're trying to do our part here.
Good to be well represented.
Well, it's interesting, though, because one of the things we talked about in that seminar are the ergonomics. Now, of course, when you're building a rifle and a rifle system, you need to have stability. So you have to have an absolute stable platform for your stock. No question about it. Glass bedded, fiberglass, whatever you have, it's got to be stable. But on top of that, because people are trying to shoot 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, or even longer, as we'll talk about in a little bit, you have a whole different ergonomic setup that's required. And the size of modern scopes, some of them being 40 millimeters on the tube, not the objective lens, but on the tube, really has to have an adjustable cheek piece or do some kind of modification on it just to be able to look down your optics. And I'm sure that's something that you've seen industry-wide.
Well, absolutely. Scopes are getting bigger and bigger and longer. As a matter of fact, I just picked up an M40A1 clone that McMillan Firearms did back when I owned the company. I ended up, we sold it to a customer, and I ended up buying it back because he needed the money. So I ended up having one of the 20 that we made. And I looked at it and I thought, man, that scope looks like a compact. That Unertl used to seem so big and heavy and sturdy. And now it looks like a little compact compared to the Night Force and the ATAC-Rs and the U.S. optics that we're using on long-range guns now.
And some of those, I mean, there's, you could use them to pound a fence post in. They're giant pieces of aluminum, but they're great optics all the way around. But that has caused stock manufacturers and long-range shooters to reach for something else. And so one of the things we had that we were showing off there were the adjustable cheek pieces. And that's a big deal because I learned early on, well, I'd like to say I learned early on, but I did eventually learn, how should I put it that way, that part of the reason I had poor groupings when I rescoped a rifle was my eye was not in the exact same spot every time because the stock no longer fit me for that optic selection. And that happens when you upgrade your stocks. See, you're all choked up over that. I can understand that.
But, we have enough stocks out there with enough options for everybody that you can figure out what you need, and we can help you out when that happens. If you say, hey, I'm going to build I've got a 300 Win Mag hunting rifle, and I'm going to switch it to a long-range shooting rifle. Well, you can put a new barrel on it and put a new scope, and a 300 Win Mag is perfectly fine for shooting 1,000 yards or more. So it would make a great gun. But if you were trying to do it with the same gun, with the same barrel and the same stock, probably not going to have a lot of success. So being able to switch out those components that are going to make it a long-range competition-type gun is going to help you be successful, whether you're ever going to compete or not.
Right. And the other part on the adjustability is it's not just up and down. Everybody's face has a different structure to it. And some of your cheek pieces are not only adjustable vertically, but horizontally, so you can really get behind the gun comfortably in the same position every time.
That's, unfortunately, that's something that people don't realize. They see the two holes in the top of the cheek piece and they think, oh, well, that's just how they hold the cheek piece onto the mechanism. But actually, if you loosen those screws, you can slide the cheek piece vertically, either towards you or away from you, and you get about 3/8 of an inch of adjustment that way. But you can also cant it, either put the nose forward or the nose away, depending on how it fits you and what's comfortable for you. So there's a lot of adjustment in there people sometimes just not aware of because they haven't really either asked us about it or tried to loosen those screws and see what happens.
Well, actually, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there with a screw loose already, so we need to watch out for that. And also, if your firearm is not shooting properly, you should always try and tighten the nut at the end of the stock.
Exactly.
Do you put that instruction in all of your boxes?
Well, one thing that you found out through Facebook and social media these days is everybody can really shoot. Oh. So you really don't have to tell anybody that.
Well, I actually let the secret out of
the matter is that, it's almost never the gun.
I let the secret out of the box there, and what we do out here is we shoot one shot. We shoot one shot into a plain piece of paper, go out and draw a circle around the hole. And that seems to work out pretty well. We hit a bullseye every time.
Exactly. Well, that's all that people care about, the perception, not the reality.
Yeah, you got a 15-shot string, and you zoom in on the 3 that are closest together and post that one.
Yeah, we were talking about the 6,000-yard shot, and there's a bunch of people. I posted a video that I took with my phone. And you only have one opportunity to post something that's going to happen for the first time. And I just turned my camera, the video on, got it, pointed at Paul Phillips, and he had just pulled the trigger as it started. So if you don't catch it immediately upon where it starts, you're not going to see that first shot. Well, a bunch of people were complaining about, well, it only took 3 seconds to get there. I said, no, it took 17. You're just confused. But, people become experts on social media, and we had one guy just knocking the heck out of Paul about, not being able to hit it several times. But he's from the UK, and for a fact he's never shot over 1,000 yards.
Well, so let's, I wanted to bring that up in the next segment, but we can start it here. Let's just talk about the factors that are involved. This shot was up at SHOT Show, out in Vegas area, somewhere out in the desert, I imagine. Just how did you guys mark off this particular range? Because it was an odd, like 6,017 yards or something like that?
6,012 yards. And I have to admit that I wasn't there for the first day. Paul Phillips, who is the captain of GPG ELR team, which is also sponsored by Macmillan, decided they wanted to have a practice. They're getting tuned up for the King of 2 Mile, which will be in either the end of June or 1st of July at Raton at the Whittington Center. So they wanted to have a practice. And during this practice, they just said, hey, we can get out to 6,000 yards here. Let's just put a target out there, have some fun, and see what we can do. It wasn't a world record. They weren't trying to accomplish anything that anybody else hadn't done. They just picked that distance because they actually had a military rangefinder that could get that kind of range, and an area that would a dry lake bed that would allow them to shoot that far. And so they just set it up. You use that really, really expensive military type rangefinder to get the range, and started throwing bullets downrange.
So this particular shot, 6,012 yards. I have no idea what the longest shot ever is, but that's got to be up there somewhere. But was that 3.5 miles?
Yeah, 3.22 miles, I think it is.
3.25 miles with a rifle shot. What caliber was it?
416 Barrett.
416 Barrett. Okay, we're going to talk more about this 6,012-yard shot Kelly witnessed out there during the SHOT Show in Vegas this last January. Folks, Philip Naiman, Firing Line Radio Show. Check us out at firinglineradio.com and McMillanUSA.com. We'll be back after this.